I've been in education now for 50 years, and and nothing's changed. The poverty lines and the disadvantage are getting worse for young families and what they have to, deal with. The poverty lines, you'll have heard of the children doing fair clement. They talked to you about that. That's ensuring that families have food on the table so that children aren't coming to school hungry, or we ensure that families have food, over the weekend. And you will have been told that we're getting a kitchen and we're going to teach our young families how to actually cook simple foods and nutritious food simply and cheaply. The garden, if you go in the garden, you've seen the hens. The children look after the hens and collect their eggs and sell the eggs, and it's just a whole. Well, I don't need to say that, don't you? But Jill has the vision and the passion and the empathy to drive this school and be the nurturing school that it is. She's amazing. She's just amazing. So, but I've been very happy to be able to come and work with Jill Weatherstone in helping her, for instance, say to look at if she's going to publish anything on nurture. I'll go through the wording with her and the language of it with her, and be because I've got that background to be able to say you need to put this in, that needs to be parent friendly, that's not parent friendly. So, as I say, work with her doing the learning what's, and helping to develop. Jill's grown, help to develop her skills to be a leader, because she is a leader of nurture within this school. So yeah, I'm passionate about it. I've always been passionate about it.
That's very evident.
Yes,
very evident.
I mean, I was very lucky in my headship that I was able to access building a new church that had a community centre, that we could run crashes for parents, that we ran cookery classes, etc., etc. And then we got £600,000 from lotteries, because I employed somebody to do that for me, and we bought a row of shops and we made it into like workshops for parents so they could go and teach them how to fill out a form, do literacy classes, do ITC, teach them technology and what have you. They're all the things that Jill wants to do. That understanding. And you will know that a lot of our parents don't have aspirations for the children, because they live in a trapped poverty, and the expectation, because there's so much unemployment in the area, the expectation used to be, well, as long as he's happy, love, that's all that matters. Now you say, yeah, but your child will be so much happier if he's so clever, if he became a doctor, or if he became an airline pilot, or so it's about giving the children all those different experiences. I always remember taking children out. We got a minibus, taking children out in a minibus, and they'd never seen a real cow and a real sheep. Some of these children have seen sheep and cows on television, things we take for granted. So then, have you seen the 10 promises we make to children, that within their lifetime in this school they'll visit a farm, they'll paddle at the seaside, they'll go on an aeroplane, ask about the plane trip they went to Edinburgh, I think again, after me. Okay, you've got a right lot there. So you look at what experiences can I give these children that opens up, this is all part of nurture to me, that opens up their experiences to say, do you know what? I'd love to work on a farm. I'd love to work with a vet. I'd love to be an airline stewardess or a pilot. So it's about, I'd love to be in the theatre. I'd love to be in a theatre group. It's about opening up all those experiences that a lot of us just take for granted, as I did as a child. I had all those advantages and our children don't. So it's about looking at the children, what the children's needs, and nurturing those those aspirations, as well as the nurture bit about looking after them. And it does affect, when you talk about data. Now Jill Lee will show you the data that considering the percentage of children we have on free school meals, which, by the way, Universal Credit, as you know, is doing disadvantaged schools no favours, because those numbers are dropping, which affects the amount of pupil premium we get to spend on each child. The percentage of children who, as they're going up school, are making better progress is testimony to the way the curriculum is run in this school, because of all the nurturing aspects. So there is hard data to say, because of this, the way we work, this has meant that very disadvantaged children who come into school well below your national averages, make a lot of progress, make really good progress. We'll always be, in fact I've read an article this morning on the new Ofsted framework. For me, Ofsted do not take into consideration enough where the starting points are for children, and look at where the growth is, and then look at, so why is this school able to do this with the same sort of level of disadvantage, free school meals, pupil premium, whatever, and that school is there and that school is this? What is the difference? And the difference is the nurturing environment and making learning joyous. But you can only make learning joyous if you understand children, and you understand that there are times when some children can't access the curriculum, so that's when you decide on a different sort of access of curriculum to them. That's the difference of making the progress. And as I say, if you want hard data, Jill Lee's got that. And obviously I'll look at it. And
excellent. So following on to that point, looking at the data side of things, and if there is a nurture, there's a teacher who's looking to start their nurture journey, and needs to sort of get the SLT on board, senior leadership team on board, and then the board on side as well. I mean, what sort of advice would you give someone who's starting right out from scratch to actually get that buy-in? Because it might be that the head may not be on board at that point. The teachers on the coalface are saying, this will really work. This will really benefit us. But because it's quite strategic, it's long game, isn't it? It's not. There's no quick wins in this.
Yeah.
So that's sort of my question is, how would a teacher would like to convert to a nurture practitioner get that journey started if there is that sort of lukewarm thinking about it? How would you, in your opinion, how would they do that?
I'm actually working with a school, another school, as a governor, who what's happened, I can only put it like this, what's happened is the school's in a very, very good area, so a good sort of environment, but what's happening is more and more children are coming through the school with emotional problems, difficulties, and a couple of the teachers said to me they were new teachers finding it difficult to behaviour manage the children, these type of children, because what they had in school wasn't working, because basically naughty children were sent out in a little group all together to do some work, and it wasn't working. So the teacher said to me, now we know you're at Marsh Green and you have a high percentage of children from disadvantaged areas. What do you do? What happens? So the only advice, if your head's not on board, it's very, 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 very hard. So what you have to do, says a young teacher, you will read about nurture, you will look for any relevant training courses, You will ask your head teacher if to do a visit to another school, because a new teacher has to have that time. You will then sort of report back as to what's worked. What you have to do is look at good practice and report back on that good practice and talk about it. But in a school, you've got to win the head round. You have to win the head teacher round. If the head's not on board, the leader and the senior leadership team's not on board, I don't know how.
But it's starting with those small things like going on a bit of training, do the research, and visit that local nurture provision, and get the evidence.
Get the evidence, and then put it into practice in your own classroom, and then you say, invite another teacher, because another teacher says, I can't go do anything with Michael, when he's in this mood and what I mean. And that teacher then says, do you know what I've tried that really works? I went to Marsh Green, whatever. I went to this school and said, what really works? And I've tried it with Michael, and he's much calmer, and he seems much happier. So these are the things I've tried. That's how you do it. You have to spread the word, and then that person goes away. Do you know what? That really works. So why don't we try it with, different groups? It is about those small. I find it hard. I find it hard to understand teachers who don't have nurture within their thinking, because that's the first thing is you do as a teacher, is you get to know each child, and each child has their own story, and then you show the child how much you care and how much you love them, and you ensure that learning is joyous, and you ensure that they feel safe and happy to come into school, because you provide different things for them to be able to deal with their emotions or the difficulties. So I don't understand teachers who don't have empathy. Well, I've met lots of teachers who haven't got empathy because they're driven by the league tables or they're driven by results. But as we know, we can't, until we put the nurture in to get.
Can't raise it in.
No. I mean, I've talked his blooming head off. I don't know whether I'm giving you what you want, but
it's absolutely perfect. Because again, it's like when I was speaking to the three ladies earlier, I didn't have to say anything. Yeah. It was great because they were just talking so naturally about it.
Because we're passionate, aren't we, Jo?
We believe in it and it makes a difference.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference.
Oh yeah.
And as you bigged me up, I told Adam that you were the jewel in the crown.